Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Saturday, August 12th, 2017. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is up 6.96% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 3780, a high of 3780, and a low of 3524. Bcash is up as well, with a last of 324, with a low of 321 and a high of 337. Looks like a pretty tight range there. Square founder Jack Dorsey talks Bitcoin and says blockchain is the next big unlock. He also says that he owns Bitcoin and that his company Square, which accepts small micropayment transactions for businesses, also accepts Bitcoin, but only in their online store, not in their everyday app. Because if they accepted it in their everyday app, you might realize that you have no use for Square. Blockchain technology will change the world. Fidelity Labs SVP. More and more serious finance guys keep showing up to tell us how good Bitcoin and blockchain technology is, as if we didn't know. And finally, Bitcoin briefly passes 3,800, shows stability and potential after the Bcash soft fork. We're joined by Jimmy Song with a check of the current Bitcoin scaling. How's it going, Jimmy?
It's going great. If you've looked at Bitcoin Cash, they have they're about 50% less profitable than the original chain. They're still at around 12.5% of the original chain's difficulty. It still looks like around 7 or 8 days from now before we see a normal difficulty adjustment. It looks like a lot of people are mining Bitcoin because it's just a lot more profitable with the recent price rise, especially of the last few days. Nothing really crazy happening. I think we covered a lot of it on the Bitcoin group yesterday, the news of this week. It's the weekend, so there aren't as many people. On a personal note, I'm going to have to buy a new kitchen because Bitcoin is about to hit 4,000.
Funny, the rare Pepe kitchen references. If everyone could give us a thumbs up and a share, that would help more people find the show. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. We're also joined by Tone Vase with a check of the markets. How's it going, Tone?
Oh, it's going good. I hope you guys can see my screen. Hey, Jimmy, any thoughts on the Bitcoin mempool? Because I've been watching it the last couple of days, and it's kind of getting filled up. It's been a little tricky to move transactions with the lower end of the fee. Any thoughts on that? On the Bitcoin mining and how often the blocks are found?
Yeah, so I think we had a lull there right around August 1st, just because every exchange was scared and nobody wanted to do anything while the split was happening. So we had some.
Right, because everyone was holding on to them so that they can actually split them. But now, now what I feel is happening, because I'm sort of part of it, you move all of your Bitcoin around, you take out the Bcash so you can sell that damn thing. Now you have even more Bitcoin, and now you got to put it back into your cold storage. So everyone is like moving the shit back around, moving it back into the exchanges they wanted it to. And the mempool seems to be a little tight. I know I went a little cheap on my transaction fees, and I've been like waiting like 12 hours. I'm like, God damn it, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, and that's entirely normal. There was sort of a lot of block space supply right around then, and then a lot of people, like you said, are moving cold storage around, maybe changing their cold storage solution to a hardware wallet or something like that, something easier. One thing that you can definitely say about this whole saga is that it's made everyone review their cold storage and how they store Bitcoin. So it's not a surprise at all. I also think there's a lot of businesses that are just getting back online. Their exchanges, and especially with the price rise, there tends to be more demand for transactions when the price is rising because people are buying and selling and all this other stuff.
I think we're going to need bigger blocks.
Good thing SegWit's coming, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think once SegWit transactions start coming in by the end of the month, I think it'll be better. Also, by end of the month, things should come down with all this, rearrangement after August 1st. All right, so let's talk about the price. And I'm literally staring at a new all-time high. Oops, let me move my mouse there. So this is the Bitstamp weekly chart. And according to this, we're on number 4. And I know a lot of people on this channel may not be familiar with this indicator. So you may want to still head over to, learn more about it on my other channel. But other than that, this may be confusing to you, but we're still on a 4. And the goal is for the 4 to reach a 9. And then your 9 becomes a potential sell event. Like in this case, we didn't really make it to a 9. But in this case, we did. So if we're on a 4, and this pattern seems to be replaying this last pattern to get to a 9, and I've been talking about this for quite some time, and I don't know how high this thing can go, but the potential for it to go up is 5 more weeks. So who knows? Anything can happen, but the more likely probability is 5 more weeks of upside. Let me zoom in just so people can see it clearly. And the thing is, though, the support is kind of far down. So they're really like, even if it falls like $500-600, it's like still within reason. Like you have to fall back below 3,000 in order to get worried on this weekly chart. So this is, I guess, the good and the bad. The good is your upside is huge, but your downside is also kind of wide, and you're not in danger of a bear trend. The daily chart is where things get really, really interesting. And I mean really interesting. So not only yesterday was my famously predicted August 11th date from 3 years ago as the most critical day in Bitcoin, it was also a 9. But this 9 only took place on the Bitfinex charts. If you go to daily on the Bitstamp charts, you will see that you're only on an 8 today. So this is why it's a little bit tricky, in that it depends what exchange you're using, and other exchanges could give you different numbers, because unlike traditional markets, Bitcoin doesn't have a one price that rules them all. So it's very possible that Bitcoin could still top tomorrow as opposed to yesterday. So I am watching this very, very carefully. Now, how do you interpret this 9? Because this 9 came at the height of the candle, there should not have been any fear of selling on this candle. But if you wanted to take profit near the top, it's perfectly reasonable. And what I wanted to avoid here is a shooting star reversal candle, which we didn't get. So today just started, we still have 8 hours, and anything can happen. So what you want to avoid is a candle that looks like this. As you can see, this 9 candle that I'm zooming in on now back in May is very similar to the 9 candle we had yesterday. And look at the following day. The following day, the price of Bitcoin was up huge. And then by end of the day, it fell. Now it fell. Now this fall had to do with the Chinese regulators walking into the Chinese exchanges. I believe that's what caused this move. It also could have been the ETF. I honestly don't remember all that well. I really should label it, right? Or you had a 9 candle that was a complete down day, which this wasn't. So because the 9 candle was a total up day, and today is so far an up day, if today starts to sell off back to the opening price last night at midnight New York time, then it's a time to take your profit. As long as we're making all-time highs, it's a hold. But keep in mind that according to other exchanges, tomorrow might be the top day. So that's what I'm watching very carefully. So for now, both daily and weekly are still bullish, with the weekly bullish for 5 weeks and the daily bullish for another 48 hours, and then we reassess. Back to you, guys.
Tone, quick question. It looks like we're hitting all-time highs. Can we expect 4,000 soon, or is that still far off?
No, not at all. I mean, this uptrend can continue until there are signs of where it can end. Like when something is hitting all-time highs, it's insanely difficult to predict like at what price it's going to top. It's a lot easier to predict at what time it's going to pop. So you can do things like Fibonacci time retracements, or the thing that I did with my August 11th date, like a cyclical date, and I came up with August 11th, like I said, 3 years ago. But I don't know what that August 11th means. It could mean the start of an uptrend or the end of one. Like it's impossible to tell. So you're at this point, you're better off doing time analysis that is independent of price versus trying to pick a price stop, and then you wait for technical signs that a potential top is in. And at the moment, the only technical sign that I see is either something bad happening in the next 12 hours, or tomorrow there is the same 9 is appearing on Bitstamp. And maybe I should check other exchanges. I haven't done an analysis of, the reason why I care about Bitstamp and Bitfinex is because of history. When I started doing these analyses, GDEX didn't exist. Gemini didn't exist. Itbit didn't even exist, okay? So I'm like kind of traditionally locked into these exchanges, but if once Bitfinex leaves the US market, it will no longer be all that relevant. So I may have to, retire this chart and only use Bitstamp. Or if Gemini is getting all the volume, I need to use Gemini, or unless someone comes up with an index that the world is following and that index is being updated in real time, something like that. So it's hard to gauge. I'm looking at that 9 tomorrow on Bitstamp, and we'll see from there.
5 more weeks of upside. This is going to be the best Groundhog Day ever. Just like to thank everybody for watching. We're out of time for today, but we just want to show the QR code if you'd like to send us some donations. And we just hope everybody has a great Saturday. Go out and do something. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.